be aware and to ask ourselves questions regarding our usage of social media and whether it affects you negatively. If you feel like you can't go a day without your phone, if you feel like you're on vacation and you can't stop yourself from snapping a picture every time you see something you like, you just put yourself in question and find out if you have healthy habits. What is going on, guys? My name is August.
And I'm Eula.
And welcome to Ask Why Podcast.
Welcome to episode 2.
Yeah.
Today we're going to be touching a little bit about social media.
Yeah.
Which we're all familiar with, but it's definitely worth the talk a little bit.
Yeah, we want to talk about the unnecessarily unintended outcomes that can come from social media and the daily use of it, and some of the negative habits, some of the positive habits.
Yeah.
Just a nice little conversation about something that every single one of us uses every single day.
So to get a good understanding of social media, because as we've seen both in our lives, we've clearly seen a exponential growth in usage of social media. Do you have some stats from back you can give me so I can get a better understanding of that?
Yeah. So in 2021, there was roughly 79% of Americans who had a social media profile compared to only 10% in 2008. So clearly there's an 8 times jump from 2008 to,
that is a lot.
to now. So there's clearly more interest in social media.
And that's not shocking. I feel like we've all have seen that throughout our time since I've started using Instagram compared to now, or social media overall. I feel like there's a lot more people on it now. Even our parents and my grandparents are on Instagram compared to 10 years ago.
It almost seems like 79% is a little low, but
yeah, I feel like it'd be more than that, honestly. But
regardless, some of the world's most used social platforms are Facebook, YouTube, and WhatsApp. Facebook has 2.7 billion users. YouTube has 2.3 billion, and WhatsApp has 2 billion. So
I did not know WhatsApp had that much people.
Yeah, I think WhatsApp has a lot of usage around the world because you can talk I know that my parents talk to French family with WhatsApp. So
yeah, that's why I have it too.
But so clearly social media is massive and it's not going to go anywhere. It's just something that's kind of come up in the last 10, 20 years and nobody's said anything about it. It's kind of just there. And
I mean, we've said so much, there's too much to analyze.
It's just it's kind of weird how fast it just became a part of standard life, and it's just like that now.
I think if we would have had this conversation 5 years ago, it would have been very different, and we could have even said that it could possibly end. We were seeing the beginning of social media, but 5 years ago we could have said, oh, in the next 5 years, Instagram and YouTube will be gone. So 5 years ago, I feel like we would have had a totally different conversation about social media, where I think today the conversation we're having is different, since it's not where social media is going, because it's so big today that it's not going anywhere, but rather how to handle it and
how to use
social media in a way that doesn't have a negative impact on you. Not necessarily a positive way, but something that isn't bad.
Yeah.
To go back a little bit, I think understanding what the producers of these applications and whatnot are trying to get, which is important to know for just using the app yourself. So as seen in Social Dilemma, which is a really good movie, I recommend everyone to...
Documentary.
It's a really good documentary that I recommend everyone.
It's important.
Yeah, that is. Okay, my bad. It's very important for everyone that uses social media to, I think, watch this documentary to grasp a better understanding. But pretty much it explained how these applications are made to grab your attention as long as possible. The goal is, since you're not paying for this product, when you buy your phone, you're putting in money to buy your phone. But these applications you're downloading for free. So they have to take something else away from you. If it's not money, they have to take something, which in this case, your attention. So whatever they do is to make you stay as long as possible in these applications. Which is,
the longer you stay, the more ads you see, and the more ads you see, the more money they make. So
exactly
everything, I mean, even though it says social media, you think it's as harmless as just connecting you from one person to another from beyond physical distance.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of it, and that's why everyone loves it, but everyone forgets that it's a business and
Exactly.
that they have to make money off it, and they'll do that over anything else.
So you have to see what you're giving them to make sure it's worth it for you.
Yeah. One thing we also don't think about is that the fact that they're trying to push for your attention and trying to push for you to stay on this app as long as possible, they're going to try to provide you the content that you're most likely to click on. And that does not matter if it's gory, if it's against your values, if it's again something you completely don't believe in, like
or just your hobbies or whatnot.
It does not matter. It's something that they believe through their statistics and their findings and your data, basically.
Yeah,
they believe they believe that you will watch this more likely than other posts. So you got to be really careful, because at the end of the day, a computer is deciding what's being put out in front of you.
And as we're seeing more and more, computers are really smart to even question if they're smarter than the human brain. So they're actually able to know your emotions, to be able to give the content that will make you stay the longest possible in these applications.
I know I've recognized something on my YouTube page is since I mess with music a little bit, at night, which is typically when I start listening to music and doing more music related stuff, they'll start putting and recommending me beats, but only after a certain time of the day. It's weird, but your recommended page will be different based on your time of the day, based on your schedule, based on your habits. So it's very, very, very personalized to you, and people don't recognize that.
Sometimes it's so well done that you find yourself following communities and groups of people that are sharing ideas that at the end of the day, you don't even realize you're actually believing in them.
Yeah.
But that's the way things are.
I think that social media also like allows you to have an amplified version of yourself, like in terms of your personality being put out there. Like if for instance you hate Madonna and she makes music that you just don't like, you can easily go on Twitter and say like, I don't like how Madonna does this and this. But if you were put in this situation where you were at a discussion board with Madonna there, and then she was taking questions, you would have no courage in you to stand up and say, hey, I don't like your music because of that. Or maybe you will, but most people won't. And that's where most of the online harassment does come from, is those people that usually filter themselves.
Yeah, that's the first step. And when you get to a point where you share something like that you wouldn't say to someone's face usually, it even goes an extra step, because most likely you post that on Twitter and you're going to get a group of people that also hate Madonna that are just going to reinforce your opinion.
Yeah.
And then the next day you log into Twitter, you see a bunch of new tweets that come up that reinforce your thinking. So you're like, oh, these random people are thinking the same way as I am. That must mean like this is a real thing, and like Madonna is actually trash. Being part of these communities online makes it more acceptable and normalizes. It's like peer pressure on like internet scale.
It changes your view of like the average population.
Exactly. You follow, for example, you're into partying, you follow an account that posts random party videos, and you're scrolling through without even thinking about it, but you become normalized to it, and then
next thing you know, you wake up and you see 10 videos of parties every day. You think there's not a single person in this world that doesn't love partying.
Exactly. And then your life becomes based for this. We're just using partying as an example, but it can be whatever you want. If your life is about working out in the gym, if you follow only gym accounts, in this case, it could be something positive to be fit, but it can also be a negative that you're following people that are expressing a unreachable goal. But you become so used to this world that like, okay, social media is reinforcing your beliefs, and sometimes not good ones.
Yeah, basically what we're saying is that you are fed this this like idea of you, which is what they think of you, and the fact that is the way that they make money off this algorithm that suggests things to you, could poison you in a way. And it's like a gift with poison. Like you can obviously use it to do such great things. And when I know that there's people like it's helped a bunch in like LGBTQ stuff and people
really?
that make community groups and that felt like, oh, in their little hometown of I don't know, a random city in Kentucky, there's a kid that has come out, and there's not a single person
Yeah.
that responds to that in that whole city, but he can go on the internet and talk to thousands of people that are just like him. Like there's so many good sides to social media
Yeah.
that can also be used negatively, and that's why
That's a good
it's important
point
to have
to-
conversations.
It's important to bring up that it can be turned into positive things. For example, you can follow a group or community that promotes healthy eating and whatnot, and that is something that's positive, but you have to really be careful and analyze what you're feeding yourself and
Yeah.
these communities that you're following.
And social media is a great way to make people who feel alone feel less alone, but at the same time
That can be dangerous.
there's also some people that are feeling alone for different reasons that aren't like for good reasons. Like, for instance, you have extremist groups and people who have radical thoughts, and you can have all those people go on the internet, meet up together and plan. Like, that's something that
Yeah.
is also happening every single day on social media. So there's
is
so much good, bad, and that it's almost hard to talk
pinpoint.
about it, to pinpoint everything. Yeah.
I think what also needs to be brought up is to admit that in some form, social media becomes an addiction, and just opening up an application and scrolling and seeing posts actually releases dopamine in your brain.
The
which is-
notification sound, the sight of it.
exactly. It's not you making it up. It's a real thing. Like, you become addicted to these applications. Your brain like wants you to get a quick dopamine fix by just scrolling through Instagram. So I think it's really important to understand how that works so you can use it in a better way.
And I
'Cause-
think I was gonna say it's also really important to accept the fact that it's possible, because like you think that falling a victim to the addiction of social media is like it seems like it's so insignificant, and why would I let social media take over my life? Like, obviously that's not happening. It's a thing that everybody uses. But really ask yourself the question and really see where that's taking you, and ask yourself why you are feeling certain ways about it, how often you're on it. Like, try to catch yourself slipping up, and maybe you're not, but if you are, you'll catch yourself,
Yeah. So to obtain a better understanding of social media and to be able to use it in a positive way, I think first of all, it was important to understand from the creator of the application what they're trying to get from you, which is
what
your
their intent
attention
is. Yeah.
and time. But it's also important to understand like the addictive nature of social media, so you can better use it and not get sucked in to the negative sides of it.
Absolutely.
So we've touched a little bit on dopamine. Every time you touch your phone and you open up Instagram, it releases dopamine, which is a happy chemical, and that's why you become addicted to checking your phone every time you're feeling bad. Your brain is like, oh, an easy dopamine fix is just opening up your phone and checking that. But also, you've experienced yourself, for example, on Snapchat, you see your friends at a party, you feel like you should be there. It's the fear of missing out.
Yeah, the fear of missing out is like, I mean, that's something that people typically relate to the addiction of social media, because that's what they fear when they delete social media. So like, you don't like all the negative aspects of social media and you want to change it, but you can't get rid of social media, because if you get rid of social media, you feel like you're going to be out of the loop. You're not going to be receiving those funny memes from your friends. You're not going to have those group chats about the upcoming party next week. Like, people fear that social media is kind of where a lot of the actual conversations happen, which isn't true.
Well, it's not true in a way, but at the same time, because so many people are wired to use Instagram and Snapchat as ways to communicate, like, it is not true that when you delete it, you won't have access to those people. But in a way, it is. If you delete Snapchat and you're not part of those group chats anymore, a lot of people
it will be an effect. Like, you'll feel it. Yeah, for sure.
And I think we've understood that social media is so big, it's not going away. So it's important to use it as best way as possible. We're not saying you should delete your account, because since it's so big, you might be missing out on some things, and it is a good tool that can be used in a good way. But some other parts of why it's addicting and can be toxic in a way is also because on most social media, people only share the best part of your life.
Yeah, you
And
have that highlight reel effect, and you're constantly just seeing everybody's peak
exactly.
and their favorite pictures out of the 300 that they took that time. Like,
Hmm.
you have constant reminders that everybody's life around you is so perfect and ideal, and you're sitting swiping when you're sitting on the toilet or watching Netflix in bed. Like, you're as humans, we always have this urge to compare ourselves, and
Hmm.
no matter what social standards you put people in, they're going to compare themselves.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
social media is just the epitome of being able to compare, because you have access to Cristiano Ronaldo, and
Hmm.
you have access to the homeless guy on the corner of your street. So,
If he has a phone, but yeah.
oh yeah, you know what I meant. Like,
Yeah, I
there's everybody's on social media, so everybody's
Hmm.
judged
So,
and
do you
criticized.
think then it's upon yourself to see all these happy pictures and then just realize these are highlight reels and not like people's real life?
I think it's up to us, like every single one of us, to be aware and to ask ourselves questions regarding our usage of social media, and whether it affects you negatively. If you feel like you can't go a day without your phone, if you feel like you're on vacation and you can't stop yourself from snapping a picture every time you see something you like, you just put yourself in question and find out if you have healthy habits,
Hmm.
and if you're practicing healthy habits, and also accept the fact that you can have unhealthy habits related to social media, even though it's something so simple and you think that nothing can go wrong with it.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Our overall idea is that we're just trying to have people understand that this tool can be used in a good way, but it can also lead to really negative impacts, which
Yeah.
have an impact on your mental health, and some people don't even realize.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's important to really pay attention to the like what you're losing and what you're gaining from these. If social media has negative impacts on you and you have a toxic relationship with social media, then that's when you either make a game plan to be able to use these application in a healthy way,
Mm-hmm.
and either if it's a time limit on your phone or you only follow things that bring you positivity and things you actually care about.
Yeah, people are gonna have be affected negatively in different ways. So for some people, it's seeing this ideal lifestyle from so many different people,
Mhm.
like following hundreds of celebrities and then seeing themselves as inferior because they don't have that same lifestyle. You can just simply unfollow those accounts, and there you go. You got rid of your problem. And for other people, it's just cutting out social media because you're too liable to being consumed by it and every single day. Everybody has their different way of coping, and as long as you're aware of how you're doing with it and not letting it affect you to a point where it's crucial, you're in the right spot, and that's where most people are. You just got to figure out what group you fit in.
Yeah, exactly. But just to analyze, because some people can follow celebrities and get motivation from that instead of feeling like they're being compared. So it really, just think about how you are affected by social media and if it's a good impact or not, and make the best possible relationship
Yeah.
with it. So you can use this tool that's kind of put in our lives that it's too big to be taken away, but to make the most out of it.
And just same rules as real life. I think, as if you get on social media and be the same person that you are in real life, I think it'll help you from feeling disconnected from the person that you like show on social media. Just stay a good person. Don't be more negative on the internet because you can, and because it won't come back to you, because
That is
that
true.
you're just putting other people down. Just treat people how you would treat them in real life, and
That is a really good
social
point.
media can be a great place if everybody did their part. So yeah.
And I think that's not a problem of the application itself, or it's really the people using the applications that make whatever of it. So
Yeah, I agree.
I think there's potential for it to be a positive thing, but we have to be careful of the direction it's going in.
So I think that pretty much wraps up this episode of Ask Why.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And
Yeah.
we'll catch you guys next week, next Monday on the next episode.
Make sure to leave us some comments. Anything you want us to talk about, video ideas, what you think about this video. Make sure to check out our Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, whatever platform you prefer.
Yeah.
And
Let us know what you guys think, and we're excited to have you guys along.
Yeah.
Catch you guys next week.
Peace.
Peace out.